What's up, everybody? Welcome back. This is Forgo. Today I thought I'd give you guys my impressions on Baiken, an SS character that's pretty damn strong. She's absolutely amazing. She looks freaking cool, the one-armed samurai, and I am loving her. However, there are some things about her kit that some people might not find too appealing. It's really going to depend on where you are in the game as far as how you feel about certain effects and so on. So let's talk about Baiken. Let's talk about her kit. Now, she's got a very, very strong kit. The girl's got an insane amount of damage. I would say she's probably damn near on par with Leona, if not as strong as BS Leona, which is saying something. She has an amazing leadership. The increased attack side fighter attack by 40%, and then the critical damage by 50%. That is insane. Just imagine this leadership with the Guilty Gear card set, right? You know, you're going to get this critical damage by 50%. With the Guilty Gear card set, you're going to get another 70% critical damage. On top of that, you're going to get 7% critical rate. And Baiken does have extra critical rate in her core. So she's going to have about 10% critical rate with that card set. She's got the 30% PG rate, which is always great. The bleed attack damage increase. The increased damage by 24% on critical hit. This is another big reason why she does a lot of damage. And then she also increases target damage received by 28% for 5 seconds upon landing on an attack on a shocked target, which she does have on her third skill. And then she increases active skill on bleeding targets by 80%, which she has on her second skill. And then she also gains power when attacked while in fear and applies fear to the attacker. So this is a nice little PvP thing. Whenever she gets attacked while she's in fear, she will build up her PG a little bit more, which is actually nice. And then she applies fear to the attacker for 2 seconds. So like a protective fear, if you will, really good for PvP. And then she has a 30% chance to become immune to damage for 3 seconds when attacked. This is on a 12-second cooldown, so every other 9 seconds she's going to have this immunity. And this is nice. It does give her a form of survivability. It's not as good as a shield per se, but it is good. She does have a shield, but it's only for PvP. Whenever you're playing in PvE, the shield won't show up. It won't apply, which does suck, man. Shields are so good for survivability. And with a lot of these characters, these SS characters, the shields usually would apply no matter what, whether they get attacked, whether they use your skills, something like that, and it would always apply. But in Baiken's case, it's actually a PvP exclusive, which in my opinion kind of sucks because the other shields are used in PvP and PvE, and I really would have preferred this to be, you know, all around. It would have made her a much better character. It would have gave her a lot more survivability. She's still got good survivability, and she's still going to be amazing in a lot of game modes in the game. She's still going to be a very, very strong character. But if she would have had the shield all around in all game modes, she would have been a lot better. It would have increased her viability just a little bit more. But the PvP exclusive does cast a critical hit shield that absorbs damage for 7 seconds when attacked if the HP is 50% or lower. So in PvP, when you get to 50% HP or less, then you can actually get the shield. And then she can remove the shield upon taking 6 critical hits. So, well, not she can, but the shield is removed from her after she takes 6 critical hits. And then, of course, she's got the core passive, where she gets the decreased damage received and the increased attack when you're 50% HP or more. Now, the thing about Baiken is she also has another increased target damage received by 28% on her first skill. So once you apply the shock and you get the increased target damage received from the core, and then you apply this, you're going to do even more damage, which is pretty freaking sweet, guys. And then her second skill, this is where it gets really interesting. So her second skill will always give you hyper armor, and it's always going to apply fear for 3 seconds, which is really nice, even when it includes the guards. Really great for PvP. But her second skill, the thing about this is whenever you hit it one time, it's a touch and go skill. When you hit it one time, it's going to apply shock. And it's a lasting dot effect that lasts for 7 seconds. When you hit it twice, it's actually going to apply bleed. And I'm not really 100% for sure about this, but this skill feels like it's bugged a little bit. Sometimes I feel like the shock is not getting applied. There's times in Guild Raid when I'm playing with the girl, and I'll hit the skill just one time just to apply the shock. I'll go into my 3PG, and then afterwards the meter isn't even hardly broken on Nightmare Geese on Lunatic, where shock is actually what depletes the meter. So I'm actually wondering if this thing is bugged or not. I'm not really 100% sure. But from a lot of the feedback that I've gotten from other players, they feel the same. They feel like this thing is bugged. It's actually pretty goofy to use, in all honesty. It's weird. It feels like if you hold the button too long, that it will just do the bleed and it won't do the shock. I mean, I'm not 100% for sure about this. Also, whenever you tap it twice, you'll do a blast, when you hit it once, you just do a strike. And she's got a strike skill on her first skill, and then either strike or blast on the second, and then a grab on her third. So she doesn't take as much advantage of the first Imprint Stone that increases your blast skill damage as other characters, because she only gets blast skill whenever she hits the second skill twice. This is another kind of caveat to the character, because the stones for these girls, well, not for these girls, but for these Guilty Gear fighters, is the first stone does increase blast skill damage, and because it's only on one skill, it's not going to be as relevant as, say, a character like Dizzy, which kind of sucks. And then she does a grab skill on her third skill, and this thing's pretty powerful. You know, this throws out that ball and chain, gives her an attack buff, gives her deal additional damage equal to 220% of attack, which is really, really nice. This is really the skill that does a lot of damn damage, and it also can remove super armor and hyper armor, which is nice. Now, her default does have a 60% chance to reset active skill cooldowns when using the skill. But her default, you know, unfortunately, it can get interrupted in guild raid. That is something to keep in mind. But it is nice that can reset her skills. Now, her cooldowns are a little bit longer than what I would like them to be. 10.3 seconds. I mean, it would 10.1 be a little better. I know that doesn't sound like much, but believe me, like 0.2 seconds would make a little bit of a difference as far as the character is concerned. Now, as far as how I have her built, you see I got 2 maxed Imprint Stones on her. She is level 20. She does have max capsules on her. And this first stone, like I said earlier, this increases your blast skill damage. On a character like Baiken, it's not going to be as relevant. Really, a stone that increases strike skill damage, like the Volume 2 SS Stone, would actually be better for Baiken, because the Volume 2 SS Stone actually does increase strike skill damage. It would actually be a lot better than, say, even this stone right here, but this stone does offer the extra critical damage. So I mean it's tough, right? With Baiken, it's really tough. If we had an increase of strike skill damage stone right here, that would be a lot better for this character. Unfortunately, we don't have any as far as SS is concerned, and her cores are completely unlocked. And I am going to be running the Tekken set on her. The Tekken set gives her a lot of extra critical rate, 10% critical rate. It's going to give her extra critical damage by 50%. And it's just going to make her a lot stronger. We're even using 2 transcendent cards. The reason I'm showing you guys, like, with these OP card sets and this set right here, this set here is to kind of try to mimic the Guilty Gear set, but the Guilty Gear set is better. It is better, I guarantee you. But I guarantee you that set will do more damage on this character than the Tekken set. I guarantee it. I know it will. It's just built more so for this character. And then we have the 3PG. Now, the 3PG that I have on this character increases her active skill damage. And whenever I'm running through my active skills, it's actually a really good thing. But really, if I had solid attack or the critical damage 3PG, maybe that would have been better. I think the increased attack by 2% might have been better in all reality, because it would have increased all of her attack stats. All of her damage would have went up, and then her affinity is at level 10. So let me show you guys what she does against guild raid. And I mean, again, because she doesn't have that shield, I mean, she can take a lot of damn damage. I mean, Nightmare Geese is no joke. And my hopes for this character was, like, when on Lunatic, you know, because Shock actually works really well. You guys saw what Eno did, right? That I was hoping that Baiken was going to be pretty insane. Now, I'm actually going to be using Eno's leadership, because Eno applies that 60% to Guilty Gear fighters. And then I'm going to be using Mei as a striker, because it decreases skill cooldown by 1% and also gives us a solid attack. So let me show you what happens here, guys. And more than likely, I'll probably die, because that's usually what happens with Baiken. She doesn't have the greatest survivability, and you really got to play this very, very carefully with her. I think she's more so, like, you can use her here, but I think she's more so going to be a character as a support in here to use for her 3PG, because her 3PG can interrupt Nightmare Geese's Raging Storm. But to use her for a solo, it's pretty tough. I mean, at A3, I think it'd be a lot easier, because she'd have a lot more damage. But at A2, very tough. So you just want to make sure that you tap that skill one time, right, to apply the shock damage, right? And you want to make sure you apply just shock, not just bleed. That way you can deplete that meter. And like I said, sometimes it just feels like the shock isn't really getting applied, which is kind of annoying. Now here, you can actually sit there and tap the second skill twice to apply bleed and shock if you want. Now I'm going to go ahead and just apply bleed. And I'm going to go ahead and hit my 3PG, because Geese is about to do a big slam Raging Storm, which is going to do a tremendous amount of damage to us. And there you saw what happened, right? She just didn't break the meter fast enough. At A3, she would do so much better. There we go, there we go. And really, I should have done that a little bit faster, but because the darkness was on the ground, I was worried I was going to take too much damage. And this is what I'm talking about, man. She just, like, I think at A3 she'd do enough damage where she'd break that meter a little bit faster. That's really where we're hurting right now. Yeah. But as you guys can see, 200 million, this is kind of what happens with her. I mean, yeah, if you play it over and over and over, you could probably get a good little run, right? But that's the thing, man. She just doesn't really do enough damage at A2 to get it done. And you're probably thinking to yourself, well, wait a minute, she's an SS character. Ino was a regular collaboration character, and yet Ino could do it. Ino, because of her dot explosion, she just does more. She can break the meter faster than Baiken. Baiken's actually stronger than Ino as far as like her damage output. Like her damage output is actually very, very strong. And here, just so you guys can see this, I'll show you something else really quick here. Just so you can see this here. We'll slap on a different card set on the girl because some of you are probably thinking, oh, you got the Tekken set on her or whatever. Well, actually, you know what? Actually, here, we'll do something else. If this black screen ever stops loading up, come on. Jesus, these screens are absolutely ridiculous. Let's get to the good stuff. Come on. Oh, God, the worst part of the game. Okay. So we're actually going to put her in the leadership, right? And with the Tekken set, now she's going to have a whole lot more critical damage. So we'll see how she plays here and see if we can do enough damage with her in the leadership having this Tekken set, right? Remember, with the Tekken set, she's got 10% extra critical rate, and she's going to have an extra 2% critical rate from her core passive. So she's actually got 12% critical rate right now. Let me put Mei as a striker because Mei actually has more CP than my soul, and that's going to help Baiken a little bit. And we'll see how this goes. But sometimes it really does feel like her shock doesn't get applied. Now, in the run you just saw, it looked like it did. But, I mean, at A2, she just doesn't feel like, she just doesn't seem like she has enough damage. And, and part of the reason is, like, another thing is, like, her first imprint zone, if that wasn't increased to blast skill, if it was, like, something else, like strike, it really would be a lot better. All right, here we go. And right there, it applied the bleed, and I just tapped the damn skill. I just tapped it, right? I didn't hit the skill twice. I just tapped it, and it applied bleed. This is what I'm talking about. It's like, why? It shouldn't be doing that. You should be able to tap the skill once. But it's still applying bleed, even though I just tapped the skill once. Now, I am tapping the skill twice to apply bleed. Now I'm going to hit it once. We're going to go ahead and hit the 3PG because Geese is about to do the big Raging Storm. And you guys can see the damage here. And look at that, guys. Look at that. See the meter? Look at the meter. Like, I don't think that shock was applied. And that's the big problem, right? The meter was barely even taken down. I really do think that second skill is bugged. It just seems like it is. It doesn't seem like it's applying shock like it should. I hit that skill one time. I just tapped the second skill. I did not hit it twice. I didn't hold it. This has happened to me multiple times when I play against this. And this is what I mean by, I think she's going to be like, the way she is right now is that she's going to be a really good support. Like if you're using her on a Guilty Gear team for doing this, she's going to be godly. She's going to be really, really good because her damage is actually quite strong. But if you're trying to do solos with the girl, it's going to be a different world. That's going to be, maybe at A3 it's going to be a different story. Maybe you'll do enough damage, but then again, a lot of times it seems like that shock doesn't get applied. Now, let me show you a place where she does pretty damn awesome. And that is in the Immortal dungeons. And she's actually has the type advantage against this Immortal dungeon. And we're actually going to be using Yuri's leadership here. Yuri's just a level 10 1-star character, but her leadership does give all-star fighters the power charge rate by 20%. And since Baiken's already got 30% PG rate, she's going to have 50% PG rate. She's going to build up her PG super fast. Mei here, I just got a KS set on her. You know, she's 3-star, no imprint stones. Or I'm sorry, she's got I think she's got 2 imprint stones, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, she's got 2 imprint stones, but she doesn't have her 3 PG. So we're not going to be able to delay the timer much at all with this character. So let me show you where Baiken really shines. And this is where I think most people are probably going to use her. Probably here, probably in the Dungeon of Trials. Dungeon of Trials, she's going to be really good. I mean, because in Dungeon of Trials, you're just switching your characters over and over and over. And you can just run through your rotation one time. And it seems like you can apply the shock a lot easier that way. But whenever you start like spamming your skills and going to the 3 PG afterwards, like what you guys saw a second ago, then it seems like the dot isn't getting applied. I don't know, you know. Maybe whenever you're spamming, you just want to hit your second skill once instead of trying to apply the bleed. Maybe somehow they're counteracting each other. I'm not really for sure. We need to put this on semi-auto though. All right, here we go. Now here, it doesn't matter if we hit the skill twice. There we go. And Mei's so good for this. But Baiken's the one that's really going to be doing all the damage, guys. Come on now, come on now. We just want to build up our 3 PG. There we go. That's all I want. And the reason I did it the way I did it is because I want to be able to spam Baiken's skills while Yuri and Mei are doing their defaults and their skills. There we go. Come on, girl. And this is why I wanted to do it the way I did it. Because this way we can use Baiken, we can spam her skills while Yuri is doing her skills. There we go. And Baiken's 3 PG is super long, man. That damn thing is crazy, crazy long. Now the thing about using Baiken in the Immortal Dungeons is you don't want to use her default. Thank you so much for the subscription. You don't want to use her default because it's just way too short. Like right now it's highlighting. You want to make sure you don't use that damn thing. As long as you're just using her 3 PG, she's going to be way, way better. You hear Mei just hollering in the background. Come on now, we just keep building up that PG. Now Mei, something that's nice about Mei is her default actually is fairly long. That's kind of nice. And as you guys can see, we're doing fairly well here. Not too bad, not too shabby at all. Alright, now we can spam Baiken here. It's always a pain to try to talk and play at the same time. But look at those damage numbers, guys. Come on, Baiken, do your 3 PG. There you go, girl. Come on now. Oh, thank you for the subscription. Wow, nice. All right, and as you guys can see, more than likely, we'll probably hit the 500 million with just this first team, right? And we got a 1-star character here. We got a 3-star character that doesn't even have her 3 PG. I mean, it's pretty OP. There we go. Yeah, I mean, we're going to hit 500 million, no problem. And just imagine if I had May's 3PG. Yeah, no problem. Piece of cake. And this is what I mean. This is where a character like Baiken's really going to shine. And this game mode, like, her survivability is like really good because of her immunity core, because of her decreased damage received. And here, it's really good. Against Guild Raid, it's a different story because Geese just does so much damage. If he hits you one time, you're pretty much done, right? Hey, beautiful. But I really do think that her second skill does seem to be bugged. Like, in a game mode like this, it doesn't matter. But in a game mode where you're trying to apply that shock damage like Guild Raid, it does matter. You really want to be applying shock as much as you can. And the fact is, sometimes it seems like she isn't. It just seems like she's applying bleed and she isn't applying shock. And that's why that meter isn't getting taken down very fast. Because if you notice, earlier when I was playing with her in Guild Raid, whenever the shock was applied, that meter did go down quite a bit. But after we applied the shock before we did our 3PG a couple times, and then after we did our 3PG, the meter was barely even broken, right? And she does a lot of damn hits at the beginning of that 3PG. So I would think that the meter would get broken down even more. And I know it did sometimes, because sometimes the meter gets broken down really good for her in Guild Raid because the shock is actually being applied. And then sometimes it seems like just the bleed is being applied and we're not breaking the meter. It's really a kind of sucks, honestly. But in here, she's going to be really good for this game mode as well, because you do need shock damage. You got to love these loading screens, man. They're absolutely ridiculous. But she's going to be godly in here because of the shock damage, and also because she has that nice long 3PG that's going to give time for all these other characters to be able to use them afterwards. I mean, Baiken's a really good character. She's a solid character. She's really built more for PvP than she is anything, especially considering the way her shield is designed. Some people have told me that their shield has popped up for them in PvE content. I've been playing with this character for about 4 or 5 hours, and it's never happened even once in PvE. The shield never popped up for me even once. So, and it shouldn't. It's not supposed to. It's only supposed to pop up in PvP content. Get off this crap. But when I get her leveled up, maybe I'll do some comparisons with her and maybe someone like BS Leona, just to show you guys the damage difference between these characters, because Baiken really is super damn strong. She really is an awesome character. But I think she's going to be one of those characters that people are just going to enjoy playing in PvP, and they're going to use in all the game modes except for Guild Raid, unless they're using her as a support in Guild Raid. She'll be really great for that. But she looks awesome. She's got an awesome voice actor. She sounds cool. So let me know what you all think about Baiken, and I do stream on Twitch at 9 p.m. GMT plus 7 time. The link is in the description below, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one. See ya.